G'day Alliance family. Today I want to talk about the heartbeat of our mission. But before I bring a message from Mark 5, I'd like to thank you for your support for our Australian Alliance Great Commission Fund through your giving to the Faith Promise. The Faith Promise card we give out in 3 languages shows us the many and varied ways that we are doing mission overseas, in Australia, and in partnerships in an alliance context. Please keep this brochure after your missions week for your prayer time for our missions. The insert is for you to respond to our invitation to continue to support our faith promise, or if you're new to the alliance, to join with us as we take the gospel to everyone, everywhere, all the time. Simply complete the insert, give it to your church treasurer, and they will pass it back to our national office, where the national treasurer can plan on how we can support our ongoing ministries in the next 12 months. There is a fuller explanation of what a faith promise is on our webpage. It's called Giving is Growing. It's a video, or you can read it as a PDF if you wish. Your pastor, elders, leaders, they can help you find the link. So how does the church bring new life to the world? How do we engage with people and share a worldview that brings new life? Every single person has a network of existing relationships and family, friends, people with whom we work or study, neighbours, and those kind of things. In the context of these trusted relationships, the gospel is communicated most effectively. It isn't that God never uses strangers to spread the gospel, rather, that relationships are the norm in which the gospel spreads. From your reading from Mark 5, we see Jesus and his disciples crossed the Sea of Galilee and entered the Gerasene. This area was called the Decapolis, meaning the 10 cities. It was not an all-Jewish area. There was a mixture of Jews and Greeks and Romans and other Gentiles there. They were raising pigs there, something that would not happen in Israel proper. So first we note the miracle in Mark 5. They came to the other side of the sea, into the country of the Gerasenes. Jesus got out of the boat, and immediately a man from the tombs with an unclean spirit met him, and he had his dwelling place among these tombs. And no one was able to bind this man anymore. Constantly, night and day, he was screaming among the tombs. Seeing Jesus from the distance, he ran up and bowed down before him. And shouting in a loud voice, he said, "What business do we have with each other, Jesus, Son of the Most High? I implore you by God, do not torment me." Jesus asked his name. He said to him, "My name is Legion, for we are many." And the demons implored him, saying, "Send us into the swine." And then the herd rushed down the steep bank and into the sea. The herdsmen ran away and reported it in the city and all of the country area. And the people came to see what it was that had happened. And they began to implore Jesus to leave their region. Now that man lived among the tombs, no longer in a house, had been chained hand and foot. People had finally given up on him. He was a desperate man, alone and outcast. He had no one to help him, and he was self-destructive. Jesus had never been in the Decapolis before, yet the demon recognized him immediately. The all-reaching and eternal power of Christ is apparent. It was the demon speaking through the man. They knew the reality of Jesus. They were afraid of being sent to hell. A legion suggests that there were a great many of them. Jesus, in handling the situation, Jesus dealt with the demons. Jesus then directly addressed the situation involving the healed man and that man's web of influence. The townspeople's reaction to the miracle, they seemed frightened by the power of Christ. They wanted him to leave their region. The work and power of Jesus attracts and yet frightens some people. But we note, no life story or circumstance, this man's or anyone else, is too hard for Jesus. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who was healed was imploring him that he might accompany Jesus. And Jesus did not let him go with him, but he said to him, "Go home to your people and report to them what great things the Lord has done for you and how he had mercy on you." And he went away and began to proclaim in the Decapolis what great things Jesus had done for him, and everyone was amazed. Now I want you to see how Jesus had empowered ministry. We see that in Mark 5, 18 to 20, and in Mark 7, 31 to chapter 8, 10. The healed man reacted by wanting to go with Jesus. Why didn't he want to go home at all at that time? Well, he may have been frightened that the demons would return. He was very grateful and just wanted to be with Jesus and to serve him. He wanted to start a new life. He wanted to learn more about Jesus and from Jesus. But Jesus' response at first might seem uncomfortable to us. Yet Jesus himself was not welcome there in the Decapolis. He was not one of them. The healed man had connections there that Jesus did not have. He had friends and family there who would want to know what had happened to him. He had not always been demon-possessed. He could do for the people of the Decapolis what they would not allow Jesus to do at that time. He could share what he knew of Jesus with them. But what message could he possibly have to give them? After all, he hadn't had time to learn too much yet. He hadn't even studied at ACOM with the C&MA. The best message a new believer can give is the Garazine's formula, and that is this: you saw what I was, you see what I am. Jesus made the difference. Are you interested? By learning these principles, and by being willing to share with our webs of influence, hundreds of non-Christians can take another step forward towards Christ as you share your life and as you share the gospel. What effect did his message have on the people? Well, according to Mark 7, they listened and they were amazed at the message of this man. Now let's jump ahead 6 weeks in Mark 7. Jesus has fed the 5,000 in Galilee. Jesus is back in the Decapolis. Remember, this is only the second time he travelled to this area. What was the response of the people this time? They came to him by the thousands. He healed a deaf man and fed 4,000 people with 7 loaves of bread. They were overwhelmed by Jesus' power and compassion. What made the difference in their response? The healed man had done what Jesus asked him to do. Because of his testimony, Jesus was no longer a stranger to be feared, but a healer to be welcomed. Sharing Jesus is the heartbeat of our C&MA, our Alliance family around the world. We need to see the world through Jesus' eyes in ministry and work. This will allow us to see and focus on what is on his heart and on his mind. Jesus came to seek and save the lost. Now, I'm not here today to sell you anything. I'm not a salesman. Salvation is free. It's a free gift. You can't buy it, neither can you earn it. It's not a reward dangling before the Christian like a carrot on a stick. It's not something the church has to sell. Salvation is not for sale. It's given away. It's the gift of God. When I share my life story with people, it's not religion, nor is it simply the church, but rather the true picture of Jesus Christ as presented in the Scripture. Imagine the Jesus of the Gospels. Jesus striding up and down the dusty streets of Palestine, suntanned, bronzed, resolute, fearless and purposeful. The knuckles on his calloused hands from his carpentry work. The Christ who upset the moneylenders in the temple, shouting at them, "My house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it into a den of robbers." The Christ who had a good time at weddings. The Christ who loved people, all kinds of people. The teacher who shared in simple language and in plain parables to all kinds of people the true nature of God and his kingdom. That is the Christ that we read of and that I know. Think of the people who were close to him, his personal friends and those called by him to be on his team. The various disciples, fish merchants, unpopular tax collectors, Saul of Tarsus, a Pharisee, a persecutor of the church, Mary Magdalene, from whom 7 demons had been cast, Joanna, the wife of Herod's manager, and later through his church he calls Romans, centurions, peasants, Gentiles, widows, politicians, the wealthy and the poor, even you. Ordinary people whom he made into extraordinary people. People like that, ordinary people, are all around us. And Jesus wants them all to come to him by faith and to find salvation. Jesus sought out these ordinary people and spent time with them. He ate with them. He had compassion for them. He wept with them. He served them. He healed their bodies. He told them about his Father in heaven in parables, and he revealed to them the kingdom of God. If Jesus were here today, he would have those big carpenter's hands and arms laid out and stretched out in welcome. An atheist once said, "Contemporary unbelief is no longer skepticism in the presence of a miracle. It is a passionate desire for unbelief." People are lost and without an eternal future, and they don't even know it, and they don't even seem to care. Yet these are the very same people that Jesus came to reconcile to God. These are the very same people he sends us to share the gospel. Jesus is our example, our message, our hope, and our future is in him. But consider our C&MA family heritage. Christians are often known by their various groups, by their method, for example the Methodists, by their founder's name, the Lutherans or the Wesleyans. Good thing we're not given to that sort of thing in the Alliance. A few years ago, the president of the US Alliance was David Rambo. So we would be known as part of a group that was started by the Simpsons and led by Rambo. Well, we in the Christian Missionary Alliance, we have a great heritage in planting churches worldwide, of starting Bible teaching colleges, of establishing stable godly leadership, of planting the church so that it can reach its culture, of overseas missionaries that have walked into other cultures, of local missionaries here in Australia reaching their communities, including you and I, of sharing the good news of reconciliation with God through Jesus with those who have not heard. Our message has not changed, but how we share it will and must change. We must be willing to follow the example of Jesus and meet people where they are in everyday life situations, to spend time with them. Let your life shine before them as a living example to what God has done in your life. Let people into your life to see that the gospel is relevant today. Show them what it means to be a Christian, even in the simple things of your life and the challenging things, and share the gospel with them. The gospel spreads most effectively through personal relationships. Romans 10, picking up at verse 14. How then can they call on the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can they preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. Do you have beautiful feet? You know, when I came into the Alliance Church way back in 1979, when I was 19 years old, they shared their lives with me and they shared the gospel with me. I was attracted by the genuineness of the commitment of these people. Okay, actually I came to youth group to meet girls, and in fact I met my wife on the first night of youth group too. But these people embraced me, they loved me, they took Jesus' claims seriously and they walked with him. What has kept me in the C&MA is our emphasis on the deeper life walk with Jesus and our willingness to reach out to all people, no matter where they're from, no matter what culture, nation they're from, to reach out to them with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Friends, this is our heritage, to share about Jesus. Being on missions is a part of our spiritual DNA as an Alliance Church around the world. So in concluding, A.B. Simpson, the founder of the Alliance movement, is known for starting a worldwide missionary movement. But interestingly, A.B. Simpson did not end up on the mission field. He was a missionary to his community, right where he lived, and he was a passionate supporter of sending missionaries. You see, both happened at the same time, and that still has to happen today. Let me encourage you, my Alliance family and new friends. Make a friend, and as you can, talk about Jesus along the way. And at the same time, we can support others in missions and in ministries. Be encouraged, friends. God still speaks to people today. And I trust He has spoken to you about this matter of how you can join us, how you can join each other to be on mission, to reach everyone, everywhere, all the time. God bless you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.